Every human pursuit, every monumental achievement or quiet epiphany is driven by three basic engines: what we do with our hands, what we process in our heads, and what we feel in our hearts. Action, intellect, emotion. In the early 20th century, the Indian philosopher Sri Aurobindo examined these three drives and identified a fatal flaw in how we use them. His core assertion was simple, yet demanding. True psychological and spiritual fulfillment is impossible if will, knowledge, and love remain isolated. They have to be perfectly synthesized. But synthesis is difficult. Human nature prefers the safety of compartmentalized identities. We find it easier to label ourselves as analytical thinkers, as relentless doers, or passionate feelers, rather than attempting the messy work of integrating all three. This isolation breeds a toxic psychological tribalism. The purely analytical thinker tends to look down from a dizzying eminence, dismissing deep emotion and devotion as crude, erratic, and even dangerous. The feeler retaliates. To the fiercely devoted heart, the path of pure logic appears as dry as sawdust, a mechanical exercise entirely stripped of the passion needed for genuine connection. And both the thinker and the feeler frequently direct their prejudice toward the doer. They view the worker, the person focused on daily, physical action, as someone caught up in superficial distractions, far removed from true intellectual or emotional depth. This division maps onto the three traditional yogic paths in the Bhagavad Gita: karma, jnana, and bhakti. The tragedy is, these paths are misread as competing routes to enlightenment. Seekers choose one lane, convinced their specific method is the solitary road to truth. This mutual depreciation is a dangerous illusion. By severing the head, the heart, and the hands from one another, we actively deny ourselves the possibility of integral perfection. Aurobindo's logic reveals a mechanical truth. You cannot isolate these powers. Take the path of will. To act effectively, you must possess deep knowledge of the system you're changing. And as action reaches its highest form, it's no longer driven by duty. It becomes fueled by profound love. The exact same mechanism applies if you pivot to the path of knowledge. Start with pure thought, and you eventually realize that will is a primary property of existence. To possess true knowledge is to understand that it must manifest as real-world action. Furthermore, absolute knowledge culminates in the realization of a universal unity, seeing the deep, intricate connections between all things. And the experiential, lived joy of that unity is by definition love. Whether you begin your journey leading with the head or striking out with the hands, the rigorous pursuit of ultimate truth forces you directly into the realm of the heart. The purely intellectual mind often critiques the path of love, and it has a valid point. Unchecked emotion, divorced from rigorous understanding, is frequently narrow, erratic, and dangerously blind. But Aurobindo counters this by explaining that when love is combined with knowledge, it gains absolute security. Knowledge provides an anchor, protecting the seeker from fanaticism while allowing the emotion to expand safely. The traditional conflict between love and action disappears when we see the world itself as the very body of what we adore. If every creature and object is a manifestation of the divine, then every act of service becomes a direct expression of that love. Our work becomes the physical language we use to communicate our devotion. To interface with the sheer scale of the infinite universe, human emotion often requires a relatable, personal focal point. A divine personality, like the figure of Krishna in the Indian tradition, serves as a tangible channel for this overwhelming devotion. This specific kind of love provides the emotional depth that prevents thought from becoming a cold abstraction, while simultaneously giving action a motive beyond mere survival. It is the connective tissue that makes the entire system functional. This complete dissolution of internal conflict is what Aurobindo called integral yoga. It is the state where the three paths cease to be separate lanes and instead merge into a single, unified mechanism. In the architecture of this synthesized self, knowledge provides the clear state of oneness with the world, while works provide the living, kinetic power to broadcast that light into daily life. Within Aurobindo's philosophy, there is a clear hierarchy. Love is the indisputable crown of this trinity. Without love, the mind faces a critical limitation. Pure intellect can achieve a rapt peace and an infinite understanding, but it remains a cold, silent, and absorbed void. Love is the only mechanism capable of taking that cold, abstract understanding of the universe and transitioning it into an ecstatic, joyful participation with it. The challenge, then, is to stop compartmentalizing your own existence. You have to abandon the strict, limiting identities of being just a thinker, just a doer, or just a feeler. A truly fulfilled human life refuses to choose between thinking deeply, acting powerfully, and loving passionately. It demands all three. Thought and action are the raw materials and the rigorous labor required to build the altar of human existence. Aurobindo synthesis reveals itself as a lived experience rather than a theory. By aligning the head, the heart, and the hands, we unlock the ecstatic, unalloyed joy that sits at the very core of our being.